In 2003, School of Rock made the whole world go wild with its music, energy, and a cast of talented child actors alongside Jack Black. But 22 years later, those children have grown up, and their real lives have turned out to be even more dramatic than any movie. Some left Hollywood behind, others battled illness, and a few are no longer with us. Where did they go, and who have they become in 2025? The answers will truly surprise you. Jack Black as Dewey Finn. Jack Black was born on August 28, 1969 in Santa Monica, California. When he was 34 years old, he played Dewey Finn, a failed rocker who impersonates a teacher and turns his classroom into a band that captured the hearts of millions in School of Rock, 2003. This role not only elevated Black to A-list Hollywood comedy stardom, but also made him an enduring symbol of freedom and passion for music. Yet behind the laughter and fiery energy was a man who wrestled with his own inner darkness. Jack Black's marriage to Tanya Hayden, the daughter of legendary jazz musician Charlie Hayden, seemed like a fairy tale amid the chaos of Hollywood. But behind the warmth of that family life were nights when he returned home in silence, exhausted and filled with guilt. The pressures of his relentless schedule meant he rarely saw his children grow up, missing the small but precious moments. Tanya once shared that for a time Jack was practically living in hotels, coming home for only a few days before leaving again. She loved him, but feared that fame would swallow the humble man she once knew. Arguments about family time almost led to separation, and it wasn't until Jack was forced to take a break due to exhaustion that he realized how close he had come to losing everything. After his career highs, Jack faced another enemy, his own body. Obesity, anxiety, and mild depression sent him into a spiral of insecurity and withdrawal. He once said that every time he looked in the mirror, he saw a stranger wearing my face. Jack tried everything: extreme diets, weight loss pills, and eventually breakdowns caused by failure. Finally, he chose a slower, more mindful path: exercise, meditation, and emotional balance. It wasn't just a journey of weight loss, but one of rediscovering himself, learning to smile genuinely rather than perform for the audience. In 2025, at the age of 56, Jack Black remains a global entertainment icon: actor, singer, YouTuber, and producer. He continues performing with his band Tenacious D, voicing animated characters and creating online content. With an estimated net worth of $50 million, he lives a simple, family-centered life in Los Angeles. Suzanne Douglas as Tamika's mother. Suzanne Douglas was born on April 12, 1957, in Chicago, Illinois. When she was 46 years old, she played Tamika's mother, a strict parent who initially opposed Dewey Finn's unconventional teaching methods, but was later moved by her daughter's passion for music in School of Rock, 2003. The role perfectly reflected Suzanne Douglas's own grace, poise, and depth. Her marriage to Dr. Roy Jonathan Cobb was once praised as an ideal union, but behind the bright lights of the stage were years of painful loneliness. While her husband immersed himself in his medical career, Suzanne spent long stretches away from home on film sets. The emotional distance between them grew wider. In a rare interview, she admitted that there were times she felt like living two lives, one for the audience and one for my own emptiness. A series of failed projects, coupled with racial bias in Hollywood, pushed her into financial and emotional crisis. The love of her young daughter was the only thing that kept her going on nights when she felt like giving up. Then came the cruelest blow. Suzanne was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. During the last 2 years of her life, she endured excruciating pain, sleepless nights, and the physical toll of chemotherapy. Friends recalled how she still tried to attend her acting classes, even when her hands trembled too much to write. Once, when most of her hair had fallen out, she smiled at her students and said, "True beauty isn't in your face. It's in having the courage to live your role." It was a gentle farewell that no one realized at the time. Suzanne Douglas passed away on July 6, 2021, at her home in Martha's Vineyard at the age of 64. She died in the arms of her husband and daughter, leaving behind an estimated net worth of $2 million from her work in film, theater, and real estate. Joan Cusack as Rosalie Mullins. Joan Cusack was born on October 11, 1962 in New York. At 41 years old, she played Rosalie Mullins, the strict school principal who gradually gets swept into Dewey Finn's rebellious world of rock music in School of Rock, 2003. The role, blending seriousness with humor, earned Cusack praise for her ability to convey emotion with subtlety and precision. But behind the smiles on screen was a woman struggling to maintain peace and happiness under the heavy weight of fame. Joan Cusack's marriage to attorney Richard Burke was once seen as a model of stability in Hollywood. However, Cusack herself admitted that such stability came at a great cost of personal sacrifice. At the height of her career, she chose to withdraw from Los Angeles to shield her sons from temptation and the intrusive glare of the media. More than once, she confessed to feeling empty and lost, even in moments of supposed happiness. Richard, her quiet and steady husband, became both her anchor and a mirror, reflecting the loneliness she could share with no one else. The pressures of her career, combined with her own perfectionism, often left Cusack exhausted. At one point, she took a break from acting to cope with anxiety and chronic insomnia. That pause gave her time to rediscover balance and peace through something simple, opening a small gift shop in Chicago called Judy Maxwell Home. In 2025, at the age of 63, Joan Cusack continues to work in the arts, lending her voice to animated films and producing independent projects. She divides her time between Chicago and Michigan, where she owns several valuable properties, with an estimated net worth of around $20 million. Kevin Clark as Freddie Jones. Kevin Clark was born on December 3, 1988, in Highland Park, Illinois. In School of Rock, 2003, he played Freddie "Spazzy" McGee Jones, the energetic and rebellious drummer of the student band when he was just 15 years old. The breakout role made Kevin a fan favorite, admired for his natural charisma and burning passion for music. Yet, behind that cheerful boy was a young man facing years of uncertainty and restlessness. After the film ended, Kevin chose music over acting. But the dream of becoming an independent artist proved far from easy. He played drums for several small bands in Chicago, performing everywhere from bars to street festivals, often for modest pay. The wandering life of a musician made it difficult to maintain stable relationships. Many girlfriends came and went, unable to cope with his irregular schedule and long nights spent rehearsing until exhaustion. He lived simply, with only his drums, guitars, and unfinished songs as his most prized possessions. But Kevin carried an unshakable insecurity, a fear about the future, about whether anyone still remembered the boy drummer from years past. Then, on May 26, 2021, while cycling through Chicago's Avondale neighborhood, Kevin was struck by a car. The accident happened suddenly, and he died at the scene at just 32 years old. The Chicago music community was devastated. Friends and fans gathered outside the club where he had often performed, lighting candles and playing one final drum beat in his memory. At the time of his death, Kevin Clark left behind modest assets worth under $500,000, mostly instruments, recordings, and the lingering echoes of a youth devoted to music. Sarah Silverman as Patty DiMarco. Sarah Silverman was born on December 1, 1970, in Bedford, New Hampshire. When she was 33 years old, she played Patty DiMarco, Ned's strict girlfriend who constantly tried to bring order to Dewey Finn's chaotic life in School of Rock, 2003. Though it was a small role, it perfectly captured Silverman's sharp wit, sarcasm, and edgy humor. Yet behind her comedic brilliance, she carried deep emotional scars. Sarah's love life has been marked by heartbreak and pain. Her 7-year relationship with Jimmy Kimmel once made her believe she had found her soulmate. But when it ended, she fell into a severe emotional crisis. She later admitted that she would cry backstage while filming her comedy shows. Her next relationship with actor Michael Sheen also ended in sadness. Distance and busy careers tore them apart, and Sarah described that time as a scar I never want to touch again. Beyond the pain of love, Silverman battled her own inner darkness. She suffered from severe depression following the death of her brother, became dependent on sedatives, and spent years on Zoloft to manage her condition. There were days when she lay motionless in a dark room, terrified of her own thoughts. In 2014, a sudden case of epiglottitis forced her into emergency surgery and nearly cost her voice. Yet from that ordeal, Sarah learned to turn pain into power and sorrow into laughter, finding healing in the very humor that once masked her suffering. In 2025, at age 55, Sarah Silverman continues to perform, write, and produce films. She lives in Los Feliz and owns an apartment in Manhattan with an estimated net worth of around $10 million. Though she has never married, she often says her happiness doesn't come from a wedding ring. It comes from making others smile. Mike White as Ned Schneebly. Mike White was born on June 28, 1970, in Pasadena, California. When he appeared in School of Rock, 2003, he was 33 years old. Both the film's screenwriter and the actor who played Ned Schneebly, Dewey Finn's gentle and soft-spoken roommate. That mild-mannered role stood in stark contrast to the complex, driven man behind it. In love, Mike White once found happiness with his partner, Josh. They built a home together in Santa Monica, co-wrote scripts, and shared dreams of success. But when the White Lotus exploded into a global phenomenon, success came with a heavy cost. Overwhelmed by pressure and exhaustion, Mike began missing dinners, hugs, and the intimacy that once grounded him. Josh eventually left quietly, leaving behind an empty house and a half-finished script. The breakup closed Mike's heart, deepening his fear that everything he touched would one day slip away. His body, too, endured its share of challenges. During his 2 appearances on Survivor, Mike spent weeks without proper food, sleep, or comfort. He lost a significant amount of weight and once even fainted on the island from exhaustion. After returning, he said that the pain taught him what the limits of being human truly are. In 2025, at the age of 55, Mike White remains one of Hollywood's most powerful screenwriters, with an estimated net worth of about $20 million. He divides his time between Santa Monica and Kauai, devoting himself to meditation, writing, and learning to love himself again. Adam Pascal as Theo. Adam Pascal was born on October 25, 1970, in New York City. When he appeared in School of Rock, 2003, he was 33 years old, playing Theo, the lead singer of the band No Vacancy, who betrays Dewey Finn to seize his own shot at fame. But behind the stage lights was a man who had lost himself amid the applause and the loneliness. His marriage to Tsai was once seen as a peaceful harbor after years spent touring and performing. Yet when his Broadway career exploded, the packed schedules kept him constantly away from home, missing birthdays, dinners, and small family moments. Pascal once admitted, "The spotlight made me blind. I couldn't see the person waiting for me at home." In 2021, after more than 2 decades together, the couple quietly separated. Work obsession also took its toll. Years of strain damaged his vocal cords, his most precious instrument. For a time, he couldn't sing or even speak, sitting alone in a dark room, listening to the crushing silence. Doctors warned that one more performance could cost him his voice forever. It was then that he realized the price he had paid for passion. Pascal later said that those months of treatment broke him even more than his divorce. In 2025, at 55, Adam Pascal has regained his voice and returned to the Broadway stage while performing in smaller concerts and teaching vocal techniques to young students. His net worth is estimated at around $2 million, earned from theater and film. Though he has endured heartbreak and years of darkness, Pascal now chooses a quiet life, where music has become his way of forgiving himself. Miranda Cosgrove as Summer Hathaway. Miranda Cosgrove was born on May 14, 1993, in Los Angeles, California. She was only 10 years old when she played Summer Hathaway, the intelligent, disciplined, and ambitious girl who becomes the young band's manager in School of Rock, 2003. The role launched her into stardom, leading to her breakout success in iCarly and cementing her place as one of the most popular teen stars in the world. But behind her bright smile was a youth marked by pain and tears. At 18, while on tour in 2011, Miranda was involved in a horrific bus accident. The crash left her with a severely broken leg, requiring emergency surgery and metal rods to stabilize the bone. She spent weeks in the hospital, later sharing that the physical pain was nothing compared to the feeling of being left behind. The accident halted both her acting and music careers, sending her into a deep emotional crisis. "I thought my career was over at 18, she said. During recovery, she had to relearn how to walk, and how to accept the invisible scars no one could see. But the accident wasn't the only darkness she faced. In 2014, Miranda's life was threatened by a stalker who sent her gifts, followed her home, and was eventually arrested after trying to break into her property. The ordeal left her traumatized, forcing her to live with security guards for months. Then, in 2016, a gunman committed suicide right outside her home. Though she was unharmed, the incident deeply scarred her psyche. "I realized that fame isn't light," she said. "Sometimes it's the fire that can burn you." In 2025, at 32, Miranda Cosgrove continues to work in film and music while advocating for children's charities. She lives a quiet, single life, focusing on her career and humanitarian projects. With an estimated net worth of $8 million, Miranda now embraces simplicity and peace. After all her pain, she has finally learned to smile genuinely. Not for the cameras, but because she has found herself again. Joey Gaydos Jr. as Zach Mooneyham. Joey Gaydos Jr. was born on April 18, 1991 in Dearborn, Michigan. When he appeared in School of Rock, 2003, he was only 12 years old, playing Zach Mooneyham, the quiet yet powerful guitar prodigy who amazed the world with his extraordinary musical talent. The role opened the door to fame, but the spotlight that once illuminated his path soon cast a long shadow over his life. After his sudden success, Joey withdrew from Hollywood to pursue music. But no one had taught him how to deal with the loneliness and pressure that came after fame. While his co-stars continued to shine, Joey returned to Michigan, struggling with emptiness and the fear of being forgotten. He turned to alcohol, then drugs as a way to escape himself. Every time he performed, he smiled and played like there was no tomorrow. But when the curtain fell, all that was left was a young man slumped over his guitar, the once celebrated prodigy now lost and broken. In 2019, he was arrested in Florida for stealing guitars to buy drugs. Joey confessed, "I didn't recognize myself anymore. I had lost everything, even my own self-worth." Addiction took a heavy toll on his body and mind. He entered rehab, battling depression and guilt. Friends later said there were times he couldn't even look in the mirror because he saw a 12-year-old boy who never grew up. Gradually, with the support of his family and music therapy, Joey began to rebuild his life. He started teaching guitar to children, hoping that no child would ever have to experience the same loneliness he once knew. In 2025, at 34, Joey Gaydos Jr. lives a modest life in Michigan, focusing on songwriting and performing with his band Never Sorry. His net worth is estimated at around $500,000, earned mostly from music and film royalties. After years of chaos and pain, Joey has finally rediscovered the reason he fell in love with the guitar. Not for fame, but because it's the one thing that has never betrayed him. Rivka Reyes as Katie. Rivka Reyes was born in 1992 in Chicago, Illinois. In School of Rock, 2003, Reyes were only 11 years old when he played Katie, the calm but sharp bass player who helped form the soul of the young band. The role made Reyes a beloved child star, but when the lights went out, that child fell into the darkness of growing up too fast. After the movie's success, Reyes became a victim of their own fame. By the age of 14, they had fallen into alcohol and drug addiction, desperately seeking the feeling of being loved at parties and among fleeting friends. Being trapped in the image of a child star left them lost and disoriented, leading to severe depression and self-destructive thoughts. In their 2020 essay, Confessions of an Obsolete Child Actor, Reyes revealed, "Every time someone calls me Katie, it hurts, because I'm not that little girl anymore, and no one really knows who I am." The battle with addiction lasted for years. At one point, Reyes was nearly homeless, living off friends and performing at small bars. Yet in the darkest nights, music once again saved them. They began rehabilitation, attended therapy, and slowly found inner freedom. Reyes said their recovery was not a victory. It was a return. Today, they identify as non-binary and use art to tell the story of their healing journey. In 2025, at 33, Rivka Reyes lives in Los Angeles, working in film, theater, writing, and hosting their podcast, Where Are We Now? Their net worth is estimated at around $500,000, earned through music and art. 2 decades after School of Rock, Reyes is no longer that kid from back then. They are a survivor, someone who faced the darkness and turned it into light for others who've lost their way. Maryam Hassan as Tomika. Maryam Hassan was born on January 27, 1993, in Brooklyn, New York. When she appeared in School of Rock, 2003, she was only 10 years old, playing Tomika, the shy girl with an angelic voice who stunned both her classmates and audiences. The role became a breakout moment that launched Maryam into the world of music, but it also marked the beginning of a turbulent journey between childhood and fame. After the film's success, Maryam thought the path to stardom would unfold easily, but Hollywood quickly forgot the young black girl who had once stolen the show. During her teenage years, she faced isolation and insecurity as the spotlight faded. Maryam once admitted that she hated her own voice because it was tied to an image she couldn't escape. Behind her cheerful appearance were sleepless nights filled with confusion. She didn't know who she was if she wasn't Tomika from School of Rock. She stopped attending auditions, withdrew from the public eye, and spent years healing from the pain of being forgotten. As an adult, Maryam reinvented herself under the stage name Myronate and began again in the independent music scene. But this new journey was far from easy. She had to do everything on her own, from producing to performing, while battling depression and self-doubt. At one point, she almost gave up music altogether due to financial strain and loneliness. Yet once again, music became her salvation. In 2020, she released her EP Plush, which unexpectedly received warm acclaim. Maryam shared, "I don't need to be famous anymore. I just want to be heard." In 2025, at the age of 32, Maryam Hassan, now known as Myronate, continues to write and perform. She lives in Los Angeles, working as an independent singer and producer with an estimated net worth of around $1 million. More than 2 decades later, the little girl who once sang her heart out on screen has finally found her true voice again. Robert Tsai as Lawrence. Robert Tsai was born on January 22, 1990, in New Jersey. He was 13 years old when he played Lawrence, the shy keyboardist who learned to believe in himself and step into the spotlight in School of Rock, 2003. The role mirrored Robert's real personality, a naturally gifted musician hidden behind modesty and quiet restraint. In 2025, at 35, Robert Tsai continues to live in New Jersey, performing and teaching music. His net worth is estimated at around $500,000, mostly from concerts and teaching. Once the shy boy behind the keyboard, Robert has grown into an artist who uses music to tell stories of fear, resilience, and the quiet courage it takes to keep playing, even when your hands are still trembling. 22 years have passed, yet School of Rock remains an anthem of youth, a celebration of freedom, music, and self-discovery. But the real lives of those kid rock stars have taken turns no one could have predicted. Who do you think has changed the most? And whose story moved you the deepest? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss more incredible stories from Hollywood's past and present.